if change will occur over time rather than every time you meditate at the end you assess?
Okay, there are certain issues that you assess over time, like your general character, what the meditation is doing to you as a whole, versus I'm sitting right down right now, my mind is not settling with the breath, I've got to assess that right away. What am I doing wrong? So some issues you look at over the long term, other issues you look at right now.
Ajahn, when you mentioned the body meditation, so the breath meditation, I couldn't quite understand, like, different parts. Is it that you're breathing through the nose and pretending, or you're actually breathing through the neck?
Okay, you're not breathing air through the neck, but you are allowing the energy to flow smoothly.
So it's through the nose?
It's energy, it's not air, okay? It's the flow of energy in your neck, the flow of energy in your chest, the flow of energy in the different parts of your body. I mean, you can feel the energy. You close your eyes, hold your hand out. You're not touching anything, but you know where your hand is, right? Okay, that sensation, that's what you're looking for. Now, does that sensation feel like it's flowing smoothly, or does it feel tense? Does it feel tight? Does it feel constricted?
I know it's there.
Okay, well, tense up your hand and then relax it. Which feels better?
Relax.
Okay.
So put that to the different
Use that same principle of the different parts of the body.
And then you mentioned about bringing it and then taking it out, because I tend to be very analytical, everything's got a structure.
Mm-hmm.
How do I get into that?
Just think of a picture. The energy comes in, the energy goes out. The alternative is you can think about where does the energy originate in the body. There may be some spot. It might be down around the navel, it might be in the middle of the chest. And think of the breath, the energy radiating out from that spot to fill the whole body. Or you can think of every cell in the body as breathing. Give equal attention to every part of your body all at once. So there are many different ways you can visualize this.
Sorry, I interrupted. At the moment it's imaginary.
At the moment you have to visualize it, yes. Because by visualizing it, you begin to challenge the way you're already visualizing your body. You're learning to visualize your body in a new way, have new perceptions about your body. And you say, well, which perception is true or which perception is false? They may all be true. The question is, which one is most useful? Like my coming here to Australia, you could say, I'm speaking a different language from everybody around here. I don't say might. Or you could say, oh, it's the same language, it's just weird vowels, And so you perceive it as the same language, then we can talk.
Contemplation and commitment, is it? Because we can contemplate and then reflection, daily reflection stays. And contemplation and commitment, are they talking about the same thing?
Okay, the commitment is when you say, I'm really going to do it. And then you reflect on the results. And then the contemplation would be, okay, if the results are not good, what do I do to improve them? Mm-hmm. Okay, it's basically the evaluation. When Ajahn Lee talks about getting the mind into concentration, you've got those the 5 factors of jhana. You've got directed thought, where you're thinking about something. You choose a topic, and then you evaluate. Okay, how is that topic going? That's the wisdom factor in the concentration. Is this good enough? If it's not good enough, what can I do to improve it? Once I've improved it, how do I maintain it? You're thinking about what you're doing to improve what you're doing. That's the evaluation. That's the part of the reflection that's in the concentration itself.
Is that like verbal fabrication, or is that just intuitive?
You start out basically talking to yourself, and then as the skill develops, it gets more and more intuitive.
Is it correct to say that for evaluations to be effective, we have to be very honest?
Yes. I mean, this is one of the reasons why when the Buddha said if he's looking for a student, he was looking for someone who was honest and observant. Honest, you report to other people, accurately what's going on, and then you talk to yourself accurately about what's going on. And to be observant, you begin to notice, okay, this connects with that connects with this. The reason things are not going well is because this is not going well. You need those two qualities. And those are the ones that the Buddha was looking for in every student. And when he was giving his instructions to Rahula, his son, about how to look at his actions in terms of his intentions, the actual action, the long-term results, he's saying this is how you apply those principles of being honest and observant.
Yes, I was thinking just now when Kanatan was talking about precepts, because sometimes I think we lie to ourselves.
Sometimes? Yeah. And this is where you have to be really honest. I mean, this is one of the reasons why you have a teacher. Because the teacher can then point out to you, okay, you're not being honest with yourself here. If you don't have a teacher, you have to be really on top of yourself.
Probably going on that further, it's easy because to give a story to myself to justify.
Mm-hmm.
How does one prevent that regarding honesty? Because
You have to see that those stories that you say to justify yourself are actually preventing you from making progress. You have to see that those stories are preventing you from making progress. There has to be that realization, this is what's getting in my way. It's not what other people are doing, but what I'm doing.
it happens so by default.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay, it's just that once you've learned to recognize that you have that habit, then you make a little sign to yourself. And how many times did I lie to myself today? Stick it on your mirror to remind yourself.
John, can you speak to the efficacy of practicing samadhi as a discrete practice from mindfulness?
Actually, mindfulness and samadhi are part of the same thing. The Buddha's instructions for establishing mindfulness are basically his instructions on how you get the mind into concentration. Because you've got two activities. One is focusing on, say, the body in and of itself, like the breath. And the second activity is putting aside greed and distress with reference to the world. And we're talking about a concentration practice. You're focusing on one topic and you're putting aside everything else. And then you bring those three qualities of mindfulness, alertness, ardency to try to do this well. And that's how you get into concentration. Look at the descriptions of right mindfulness and right concentration in the canon. And the analogy I like is that the description of right mindfulness is the recipe, and the description of right concentration is the restaurant review. How well you're doing this. So doing just mindfulness without concentration, the Buddha wouldn't talk in those terms. You're doing mindfulness to get the mind into concentration. And as he says, it's only in the fourth jhana where your mindfulness becomes pure. And the topics of concentration are the establishings of mindfulness. So they're very interrelated. And just the fact that you're doing concentration gives you some nourishment. It feels good, you feel refreshed. And that's the practice that you can maintain as you go through, when you're not on retreat. Question?
Well, in the cut and thrust of everyday life, I find the ardency factor difficult to come by sometimes, and to drift along and don't really make any progress at all, to be honest. Does one boy have any advice on
You've got to take.
revitalise the practice?
Well, you've got to make meditation breaks frequently throughout the day. Give yourself 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. Just like I just got to stop and refresh. And during those 5 minutes, you're really strict with yourself. Like, I'm going to just breathe and focus on making the breath as refreshing as possible. That gives you some energy. Anything you can think about that would motivate you. This is one of the reasons why they do contemplation of death. It could happen at any time. Are you ready to go? And the answer is always no. Okay, then the question is why? What are you holding on to? What needs to be done? So, but that on its own gets kind of depressing, which is why I also recommend that you take frequent meditation breaks, just to refresh yourself.
On the point of contemplation of death, again, is there anything we could be doing on a day-to-day basis because it could happen like that?
Right.
How do we prepare ourselves for what's around the next corner?
Okay, well, here you use your imagination. Suppose I'm suddenly knocked out of my body. What would I be upset about? Yes, no, but particularly. What specific things would occur to you?
Well, it would be probably, without saying try, it would be things I'm hanging on to.
So you want to look at what you're hanging on to and ask yourself, is there some way that I can learn how to let go? Sort of let go cleanly. And the Buddha says one of the first things you want to watch out for is things that you would be worried about, like leaving your family behind, leaving other people behind, and sort of leaving unfinished business. And you have to remind yourself the business of the world is always unfinished. It's very rare that someone finishes a job and then dies. It's usually the unfinished work is still... There's still a lot of unfinished work. But this is the nature of samsara.
So we still need the energy present to continue on with whatever worldly tasks we've got ahead of us.
Right.
Because they keep us alive. But not hold them so tightly that we can't let them go when the time comes.
Just be grateful for the opportunity you have to work on the task, and when there's no more opportunity, it's okay, that's as far as I can go. And if there's anybody who say, I really wish I had, straightened out my relationship with so-and-so before I left, straighten out that relationship now. Don't wait. And if there are people that you've wronged, but they don't want to ever see you again, let's just say, okay, lots of goodwill for them. So you've got to think about what are my attachments right now and how can I learn how to just drop them. This is one of the reasons why we do concentration practice. You drop things provisionally as you focus on the concentration topic.
So the last thing you mentioned yesterday about your near-death experience in Thailand and the things that surprisingly came to your mind. So we can, I guess, practice some specifics, but you just don't know what is going to pop up again.
Yeah.
So it's the practice of practicing, I guess, which is...
Just remind yourself, this is what I've been practicing for, so I can let go. Keep that in mind. Yeah.
I have a friend, at a discussion with a friend about spiritual skills and abilities, and it came to a point where he wanted to make it a business. Like he had some series of healing, exorcism, etc., and he wanted to make it a business. I managed to convince him not to, but I'd like to know from Dhamma perspective, why is it wrong to monetize such skills and abilities?
It's wrong because greed comes in and it distorts whatever abilities you've got. Just the fact that, okay, I need X number of people so I can get X amount of money that I'm going to need. And just the motivation. These skills are best when they're motivated by compassion. And once the greed comes in, then the compassion goes out the door. But I've seen this again and again, people trying to monetize their psychic abilities or their whatever knowledge they picked up from concentration, and it always ends up badly. Even just telling other people you have these abilities, that's setting the stage for something bad. My teacher, Ajahn Fuang, it became very obvious to me very quickly that he could read minds, and he could read minds very quickly and very accurately, in a lot of detail. But he never would talk about it. He'd always talk about things kind of in an indirect way. And that was the sign of his integrity, that he was not trying to show off his talents or make them public.
But if one does not advertise such abilities, I mean, like to speak about it, that one has such abilities, then how does one offer it to people who need it?
Well, again, you speak about it in an indirect way and people begin to notice that even though you're speaking indirectly, it's very worth listening to. It's up to them to decide to listen.
Ajahn, apologies if this is off the cuff, but earlier you said you had some stories maybe for off camera.
But we're on camera. The question came up about the Mahasamaya Sutta. And it's kind of a long story. How can I make it short? I was at a monastery one time, and they put me in a very isolated place. And when they put me there, they smiled at one another. And I figured, okay, I'm in for it right now. And so that night I chanted the Mahasamaya. And then some strange things happened. And then the next night I told myself, okay, tonight I'll chant the Dhammajaka, which is setting the wheel of Dharma in motion. And his voice came into my head, no, we want the Mahasamaya again. And so I said, how am I know that I'm just hearing things? And so, well, how do you think this happened today? So, okay, I'll chant it again, but I want another sign. And then the next day I got another sign. So that's how I knew that the day was there, like the Mahasamaya. The story could get very long, so I'm just telling you the very short version.
Thank you.
Okay. Atapi is ardency. Sambhajana is alert. Satima is mindful. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is that the best way for observe your practice, or it depends on each person's skills and characteristics?
Okay, each person's practice is going to be different, but the basic principles are the same. Try to do your best, and then look at the results, and are they satisfactory or are they not? If not, what can I do to change? And sometimes you can get advice from other people, and other times you want to learn how to work through these problems yourself. But the basic principles are the same for everybody. Mm-hmm.